Jayapal Gopal Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Giri Govardhan Srinath Ji Jaya Gopal Jaya Srinath Ji Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva 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 Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Jai Harinam Sankirtana ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Nantakoti Vaishnavinda ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srimad-Sadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, welcome all. Spring must be here, it's like a reunion. I'd like to welcome Devikanandan Prabhu, who most wonderfully took initiation from His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami. Welcome back. Very happy to hear and see the glorious action of taking initiation. Congratulations, Prabhu. Very happy for you. So, today we're entering a very important day in our Bhakti Viksha. This has been going on for many, many years. And now we're going to discuss the essence of 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 the Bhagavad Gita. And this verse 934 is the exact midpoint of the Bhagavad Gita. Our acharyas comment that Krishna has kept the crown jewel of the Bhagavad Gita exactly in the middle. Just like when the king is traveling in a procession, there's much protection in the front and much protection in the back. And the king travels in the middle to be protected from all sides. Like that, Krishna has deposited the jewel of this Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all instruction, in this last verse of this chapter entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge. So the essence of the confidential knowledge we get to discuss today. So, at least I am excited. Hopefully you are as well. So, we have been discussing the lead-in to this. See, Krishna is very purposeful in his speaking. Why he speaks topic, the next topic, the next topic. There's a very precise flow and reason for why he is. Like any good speaker, they have a structure to their dialogue to emphasize the point. So Krishna has been building up our confidence in the last several weeks. We've been discussing, what have we been discussing? What is the subject we've been discussing over the last few weeks? That's what we'll discuss today. But what have we talked about devotional service, just offering a leaf of fruit is purifying. What is the subject that Krishna was speaking about?
Anybody can become a devotee, and anybody who is taking one step towards me, I'll take 10 steps towards him.
Yeah, so that's anyone can become a devotee. So what is the theme of this section?
How to be a good devotee.
That's coming. Good point. But he has been discussing the glories of bhakti, the power, the potency of bhakti. How potent bhakti is that one can capture the attention of Krishna with just a piece of fruit. Can you capture the attention of anyone with a piece of fruit? But you can capture the attention of the Supreme Personality of Godhead when it's offered with love. That is the potency of bhakti. This love is so powerful that you can attract the reciprocal love of the most wonderful, magnanimous, and Supreme Personality of Godhead with a piece of fruit or a glass of water. That is how powerful bhakti is. And then Krishna began to explain, even if you're not ready to give everything in pure bhakti, you can start in a lower realm, no problem, you'll progress. And then he said that this bhakti, it is a two-way exchange of personal love. And that Krishna reciprocates back. As Prabhupada said, we take one step to Krishna, Krishna takes thousands of steps back. How powerful bhakti is. I just have to take one to get 1,001 steps closer. Not exactly in formula, but in point. That we just do a little, and Krishna does so much more. because of the potency of this bhakti. It's so powerful. He says that to the devotee, he says, remember he said, I am in them and they are in me. So powerful. Krishna reciprocates with each and every one of his devotees so sweetly, so perfectly. He maintains a personal relationship with every one of his devotees. These great personalities we so-called say in the material world, how many personal relationships they maintain? So exclusive, so restrictive. But Krishna says, anyone who offers me a leaf, fruit, flower, or water can attract. So again, so powerful is bhakti. Then Krishna said, even if you make a mistake in bhakti, anybody is perfect?
No.
Krishna says, even if you make a mistake in bhakti, Krishna considers that person to be saintly. And he tells Arjuna, my devotee never perishes. You declare it boldly. Don't declare it quietly. He says you declare it boldly, loudly, in the middle of this battlefield, where Krishna knew everybody was going to know this dialogue for thousands of years to come. On that point, he said, you tell everyone, my devotee never perishes. Why? Because if a mistake is made in bhakti, bhakti is so powerful that if one remains fixed in their devotion, they will quickly purify. And Krishna says, not from a small mistake, even from the most abominable action. If one remains steady in bhakti. So it gives us great faith, because we may not be perfect in our execution. But, as we said very importantly, there should not be a license for laziness. This verse, if we don't understand it clearly, can make us lazy, loose. The mistakes that are made must be lamented severely, must be accidental, unintentional. If we keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, it is not unintentional, nor are we lamenting it. Okay? So it's both sides. Gives us faith. Krishna doesn't expect perfection. He expects effort. And bhakti is so powerful. Whatever imperfections we have, by continuing to practice bhakti, one will purify from them. Then he says in the following verse, don't think that bhakti is forced. You have to qualify to do bhakti. How much qualification we need to render personal service to the Prime Minister? How much qualification we need? Can you just go and render service? If you want to offer a piece of fruit to the Prime Minister, can you do it? It's not even possible. Yet Krishna is saying you can offer to me. So he's saying no matter what your position is, doesn't matter. You can be the lowest of the low. You can practice devotional service. So powerful is bhakti, it will quickly uplift you from whatever position you are in. If we examine like a building and we're trying to go to the top floor, the elevator of Krishna comes to whatever floor we are, even subterranean. It will come and find us if we have desire. So this is another further glorification of bhakti. And in the 33rd verse, Krishna says, how much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees and saintly kings. Now Krishna gives a very direct, unambiguous instruction. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. So Krishna has glorified bhakti. And now he's telling Arjuna, having come to this miserable world, what should we do?
Glorify Krishna.
Watch Netflix? Go to Somerset Mall? What should we do?
Glorify Krishna.
Engage in loving service. So Krishna is saying here, in the prior verse, he said, if you're a Shudra, you should do bhakti. If you're a devotee or a saintly king, what should you do?
Of course,
Bhakti is universal. It is the universal process. Whether we are the most fallen or the greatest of the greatest. The single instruction Krishna is trying to give to Arjuna is, you have come here and do what? Engage in loving service. Right? So Krishna is saying here, how does he describe this world? Temporary and miserable. How is it temporary?
Nothing stays.
Nothing stays. Whatever good ends. Whatever bad also ends. Everything. And we are constantly fighting this fact of temporary nature. We want eternal life. We want eternal bank account. We want eternal happiness in relationships. We want eternal BMWs in the driveway. We want eternal maintenance. We want eternal everything. But unfortunately, this whole world is temporary. And Krishna says it's miserable. But we try to convince ourselves it's not. It's not so bad. But Krishna says, if you come here, what to do? Do bhakti. Why? I've just told you why. It's so powerful, so potent, so sweet, so easy, so simple, so amazing. So do bhakti. And Prabhupada says in this verse, in the purport, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord is the only process by which all problems of all classes of men can be solved. Let me read that again. The devotional service of the Supreme Lord is the only process by which all problems of all classes of men can be solved. Can anything be more universal? Prabhupada is saying it's the only process, first of all. There's nothing else to do. What is that process? Devotional service. It's the only process that can solve some problems, certain nature of problems, all problems. What's included in all? What's not included in all? So it's the only process to serve all problems. For what types of people? All people. Only certain types of people? Only intelligent people? Only rich people? Only tall people? Only short people?
Only Hindus.
Only brown people? Nonsense. All people. All problems, all people. There are multiple choice, multiple options. One option. One choice. And that is why Krishna is going to say at the end of his Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharmam parityaja, mahamekam sharanam vraja. You give up everything. And mahamekam. You just surrender unto me. So, Krishna has glorified bhakti so many different ways to convince us this is the right way. And then he directly says here what to do. Do devotional service. So what's the natural next question? How to do devotional service? So let's read the 34th verse. And Krishna is going to say how to do pure devotional service. The instruction Krishna is giving in 33rd is do pure devotional service. He's been speaking about pure devotional service in chapter 7, in chapter 8. He spoke about it in chapter 9. And now he's going to say how to do pure devotional service. Okay? So someone wants to read the verse?
Manmana bhava mad-bhakto, mad-yaji mam namaskuru, mam evaisyasi yuktvaivam atmanam mat-parayanah. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me.
Report?
In this verse, it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Sometimes, unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, his mind, and he himself are one and absolute. It is stated in the Kurma Purana as it is quoted by Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami in his Anubhasya comments on Chaitanya Charitamrita, 5th chapter, Adi Lila, verses 41 to 48. Deha Dehi Vidhedo Yam Nesware Vidyate Kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know this science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people.
There are some who are demonic. They also think of Krishna, but enviously, just like King Kamsa, Krishna's uncle. He was also thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of Krishna as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come to kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Krishna in devotional love. That is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna continuously. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have several times explained that his body is not material, but is eternal, blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Krishna will help one become a devotee. Understanding Krishna otherwise, from the wrong source, will prove fruitless.
One should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is the Supreme. He should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and the devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society.
The 7th and 8th chapters of Bhagavad Gita have explained pure devotional service to the Lord that is free from speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and fruitive activities. Those who are not purely sanctified may be attracted by different features of the Lord, like the impersonal Brahma Jyotir and localized Paramatma, but a pure devotee directly takes to the service of the Supreme Lord.
There is a beautiful poem about Krishna in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. The devotee in the beginning may sometimes fall from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. One who always engages in Krishna consciousness should be understood to be a perfectly saintly person. His accidental non-devotional activities will diminish, and he will soon be situated without any doubt in complete perfection. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in this material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 9th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the most confidential knowledge.
So as I said, this is the essence of the essence of the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. This is, if we take nothing away but this, we will have had success. Because Prabhupada says in this purport that pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society. To the extent we have faith in this single statement, we will have success. Because our attention is constantly focused on achieving so many things. Right? I want to achieve success here, I want to achieve success here, I want to achieve success there, and so on. And so by doing so, we know, if a child wants to be successful in 6 different things, we tell the child, what do we say? Focus. Focus on something and do that really well, right? Well, as adults, we have the same problem. We just don't acknowledge it. But if we have faith in this statement by Srila Prabhupada, that what is the highest achievement one can reach, obtain? What is that highest achievement? Close, but more specifically, what is the highest achievement?
Pure devotional service.
Pure devotional service. We should write this on a sticky note and put it on our mirror as we're brushing our teeth in the morning. Every day we wake up and we should remind ourselves, pure devotional service is the highest achievement we can reach. And if we brush our teeth at the end of the day, that'll also remind us at the beginning and the end. This is the highest that we can achieve. And we know it factually because Krishna, in the prior verse, gave Arjuna a single instruction: engage in bhakti. Why else he would say, do this? Up until this point, he has not said, do this. He's been laying out all kinds of options, explaining so many things. Has he not? He says, if one offers me a leaf, fruit, and flower water, I'll accept that this would happen. If this happens, if you do this, if you want to do Ashtanga Yoga, you must do this. If you want, he's giving all that. But now he is telling his dear friend what to do. Now that you've come to the miserable material world, engage in loving service. And by doing so, he says, surely you will come to me. It's not so difficult. It's so clear. Crystal clear. But the material energy, Maya, and our own mind attempts to cloud what is very simple and clear and make things a little bit difficult. So, Krishna.
But if we help others also, it is considered as devotional service. If someone calls and
Well, what is pure devotional service? Krishna said, what should we do in pure devotional service? What are the 4 things he's telling us to do? Huh? 1?
Worship.
Go ahead, Mataji.
thinking of me,
Thinking.
Okay, engage your mind thinking of me. 1. 2? Become my devotee. 2. Offer obeisances to me. 3. And 4, worship me. Now the obvious question becomes, what else? What about this? What about that? To your question. And Prabhupada answers that question. Like always, he knows all our questions. Krishna knows all our questions. So he answers your question, Mataji, by saying, what is that favorable cultivation? This is on the top of page 417. He says, it is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Guru has to instruct us on what to do. How to actually. But this is the principle. Engage our mind in Krishna. Right? So, engage our mind always in thinking of me. Now, Prabhupada comments about, there are people who think about Krishna, but are they devotees? And what example he gives? Kamsa. Kamsa is doing Vishnu Shmaranam. Full Shmaranam. But is it bhakti? No. Why?
It's not favorable.
It's not favorable. The mood is not of love.
How do they end up? How do they end up? Usually, they end up being liberated and somehow closer to Krishna anyway, even though they're thinking about him as enemy, right?
Yeah.
But
that's a very rare occurrence when Krishna personally comes. But most other Kamsas who are all around us don't have that fortune. So you can take your chances. But if you're going to spend your time thinking of Krishna, why not just admire his amazing qualities? Right? So but even that destination is not the destination Krishna is speaking of here. Because that is a different destination. Pure devotional service, we are speaking only about pure bhakti. Because pure bhakti is the only way to solve all problems of all people. And pure devotional service can take one back to the greatest award, which is to reach Krishna himself in Goloka Vrindavan. So engage your mind in thinking of me. How many things we are thinking about in our mind? 1 or 2 things? Unlimited. Right? But what is the benefit of thinking of Krishna? How many of us would like to have Krishna right next to us? Can you do it? Can it happen?
Yes.
By simply thinking of Krishna. Why?
He loves his devotees.
He loves his devotees. But what's the spiritual principle that makes that a reality, not just some fantasy?
Krishna is everywhere, in everything.
And he's within us.
Krishna is everywhere. He's within us.
He will reciprocate.
He'll reciprocate
Our faith in Krishna.
our faith in Krishna. Because Krishna is all powerful. He is present everywhere. He is present in our heart. He is non-different from his names, from his form. He tells the devotees of Vrindavan, they are in pangs of separation from him. And what does he say to them? How we could be in separation. You're constantly thinking about me, which is more beneficial than me actually being in your presence. By engaging your mind in thinking of me, you have achieved me. Okay? That is the spiritual potency of the Supreme Lord. So by thinking of Krishna, one achieves the Supreme Lord. And ultimately, the instruction that we are given in devotional service is to always think of Krishna and never forget him. That is the foundation. Everything we do in bhakti should bring us to that point. Not, chant my rounds so I can achieve some better life or get this or get... No. So that I can think of Krishna and never forget him. So Krishna is saying, engage in mind. Right? Become my devotee. Means exchange love with me. Don't think of me in enmity, but become my devotee. Krishna is looking for our love. And love is again a two-way street. Then he says, offer obeisances to me. What is the principal instruction here? Or principal quality? Surrender. Surrender requires humility. Prabhupada says, bow your head before the Lord. That's why when we all go into temple, we offer our pranams. We're not just following some ritual. Oh, everybody else is doing it, I should. Well, it's good to start. But our consciousness should be, I am offering myself before you, the Lord. I am your servant. So the offering of obeisances also should be accompanied by consciousness. It is not just a fall down, good exercise, burn some calories. It is an offering of our obeisances, acknowledging our position in front of the Lord. So it requires some humility. Right? And worship me. How does Srila Prabhupada speak about worship? What is the purpose of the temples?
He's saying there's hundreds of thousands of different ways to worship Krishna, at least even hundreds of thousands of different temples.
Yeah, he's saying there's hundreds of thousands of temples.
Of different starting points, even.
Yeah, but more specifically, he's not saying ways, he's saying there are temples everywhere.
Yeah.
Go to one of them and worship the Lord. He is present there in his Archa Vigraha form. He has accepted this Archa Vigraha form for our benefit, to be able to offer worship. Because our senses are so dull, we can't see Krishna everywhere. Yeah, he's present everywhere, but we don't see him everywhere. So he takes a form in this marble or wood or brass. He says, now you see me? Yes, now you can engage in service with me. You can worship me. So for the benefit of us, he accepts this form. So one of the principal activities is to worship. And then he says, what is the qualifier for coming back to him?
Being completely absorbed.
There comes the kicker. Completely absorbed. Right? That is our goal. Complete absorption. Because the problem is, if we are partially absorbed, it means we have some attachment somewhere else, right? So even if we go to the spiritual world, the problem is there are kalpavrikshas there. So if I have desire to go to Hawaii, then I'll come right back down here. Because every desire is fulfilled. That's the nature of the spiritual world. So this complete absorption is what is required. And how to become completely absorbed in Krishna? By practicing devotional service. But we have to have that intent. They have to have that understanding. That is there anything else that can solve my problems? Is there anything else that I can achieve that's higher? Again, if we are brushing our teeth and thinking the highest achievement is pure devotional service, if I have faith in that statement, is it difficult to be completely absorbed in Krishna? If I have faith in that statement, is it difficult?
No.
So, that is the process. Simple. In concept. But now we have to do it. So, Krishna has given us the essence of how to do pure devotional service. It is the greatest thing one can achieve. He has buried it in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita, but somehow by Srila Prabhupada's mercy we have made our way to this jewel. And if we have worked so long to find a treasure, what should we do with it?
Preserve it.
Preserve it. Take it. Keep it. Use it.
Plunder it.
Plunder it. Yes. Take it. It's there for all of us. So Krishna is telling us. And he's going to repeat this instruction in the 18th chapter. Same instruction. Same 4 instructions. If you want pure devotional service is the greatest achievement one can do. He has told Arjuna, you should do this. And now how to do it. Engage your mind in it. Become the devotee. Offer obeisances. And worship me. And these 4 processes bring us to perfection of life. So our complete absorption depends on our sincerity in the process. Prabhupada speaks so much about deviation. How deviated are we? How fixed are we in that process? Because in anything in life we have achieved, there have always been obstacles. There are always obstacles. But if the goal is important, we'll overcome those obstacles. If my sleep is my obstacle, but a really good TV program is on, I'll even sacrifice my sleep to watch that program. I'll sacrifice my sleep to speak to a friend I haven't spoken to in some time. I'll sacrifice my sleep to try some new food somewhere. But am I ready to sacrifice my sleep to speak to Krishna? No, I'm tired, I have to take rest, I have a job, I have this, I have that. We'll sacrifice it for all other things. But when it comes to engaging your mind, always thinking, becoming absorbed, becoming my devotee. And then sometimes we may ask, why it's not working? Why it's not happening? So our goal is to, but it's based on faith in this statement. If my faith in this statement is there, then nothing will get in the way of even a little bit of sleep, even a little cold weather, this, that. Something is always there. Always. There's always some obstacle. Look in the life of Srila Prabhupada. How many obstacles he faced, yet every one of them, empowered in the faith of the instruction of his Guru, just blew through them, as if they weren't even there. So we can try to follow in Srila Prabhupada's footsteps. Whatever obstacle, I have my goal. It is the only thing, the highest perfection, highest achievement. Nothing else is going to work. And overcome high barometric pressure, low tire pressure, high blood pressure, whatever there is. So many things. Let them all go and engage. This is Krishna's instruction. From next chapter, Krishna now is going to speak on the opulences of the Absolute. So he said, do pure devotional service. That is the essence of everything. He has explained how to do pure devotional service. But the problem is, we are not yet ready to fully be absorbed in pure devotional service. So now Krishna is going to speak about his wonderful opulences. Why? To attract us to his service. To enhance our faith by understanding and appreciating the greatness of Krishna. One will become inspired to man-mano bhava mad-bhakto mad-yaji mam namaskuru, to do these 4 things. So that is where we'll pick up next week. Any comments, discussion, questions?
I had a question, Prabhuji. Here then the pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. I feel that catch of pure devotees. So he takes care of only his pure devotees, and what about some of us like just me and
I'm just the top of the list.
legs down, you know. So will he take care of people like me or like us? I don't know.
Yes, he will take care of you and everyone. Does a father only love his perfect son or daughter? Any father or mother loves only their perfect child?
No.
He loves even imperfect son.
Even imperfect son. And if that imperfect child has desire to be perfect, that mother or father, they only want to see the desire to be perfect. They don't care about if you're perfect. They don't care. They want to see the desire to be. If the desire is there, then the child, mother and father actually considers that person to be perfect. That child to be perfect. Even though they're not. And Srila Prabhupada answers your question very directly, as always. He was once asked by a reporter, Srila Prabhupada, how many pure devotees do you have? You're talking about pure devotional service. So he asked his secretary, how many members we have? They gave some numbers. I don't remember what the number was. And he said, whatever, this number. And the secretary afterwards asked, Prabhupada, most of these people have just come in, they're not even following the 4 regular principles. How you can call them pure devotees? And he said, they have started the process of bhakti. So they will become pure. Srila Prabhupada says in the Nectar of Instruction, once you start, you'll be dragged to success. And he gave further evidence. He says, if you go to a mango tree, there are some ripe mangoes, but there are also some unripe, and even some buds. But those buds will ultimately also become ripe mangoes, as long as they remain connected to the tree. So I can consider them pure, because they will become pure. So who is a pure devotee in the mercy of receiving the shelter of Krishna? As long as we are connected to Krishna.
It's a question of just time. And how fast,
desire.
how accelerated we can do with our sincere desire. How we can accelerate.
Our progress in bhakti is dependent on 2 things. The intensity of our desire and our humility. If I have intense desire for love of Krishna, intense desire, not casual desire. That's nice. Intense. And extreme humility. I can't do it on my own. Only Krishna can make it happen. If we bring these things together, it is rocket fuel. You'll be a pure devotee tomorrow. Not tomorrow, today. As soon as there's intense, because Krishna ye tamam prapadyate tam sataiva bhajamyam. He reciprocates according to our mood. If I have intense desire to be pure devotee, become pure devotee. Because Krishna will reciprocate. He'll make it happen. So our desire, we don't even need to worry about purifying from this. We just have to worry about developing the intense desire for it. But we don't have intense desire for it. And that's why the littlest of obstacles get in our way. Because it's not. When we have intense desire to graduate university, we overcame so many. There's intense desire. So our mission should be how to develop that intense desire. So when we chant our rounds to Krishna, Krishna, help me develop intense desire. Because intense desire will help me attract you. Right? Desire, humility. That's it. So it is a matter of time, but how much time? It's based on those two factors. Because if I have loose desire now, so it can take a long time. But the duration is not based on the degree of my impurity. Understood? The duration is not based on the degree of your impurity. It is based on the degree of your desire. Because bhakti is so potent. In the light of bhakti, your impurities are nothing. They're nothing. How long does it take to light a room? It's pitch black. You can't see anything. As soon as the light goes on, that darkness is gone. Instantly. Krishna is shining the light within our heart. That's coming up in a couple of verses. If we want it. He's not going to force it upon us. And that's that pesky free will. So, develop the intense desire. Don't worry about the rest. Like a light switch, it can happen instantly. It's okay. Any comments? Questions?
So Prabhuji, you said if we have firm faith that the highest achievement that we can have is pure devotional service, how do we develop that faith?
Chanting. Practice of devotional service. Reading. All the different processes of devotional service. We read and study our past acharyas and see how they developed the faith. If we study our past acharyas, they show us exactly how to achieve this. We think, oh, they're so high, I can't, they're not. But they're showing exactly the path. How to do it. Right? So, faith comes from experience and purification. Right? So Krishna says, in Srimad Bhagavatam, you see in the first canto that by the performance of devotional service, our faith increases and we obtain some knowledge. So, the faith will come by the practice of bhakti. By the practice of bhakti, the more faith we have, that cycle continues. So, but we all have, we're all gathered here with some faith. Right? Now it's about sincere application of the process. We know. We've already studied 9 chapters. Everything was said in the second chapter. Everything was given in the second chapter. Right? Okay?
I have another question. Like when we are engaged in a devotional service, now sometimes when we are engaged in that, but we may not be exactly thinking about Krishna. Here we say that they are being absorbed in me. Now, it might be seva, but at the same time, it's not directly related to Krishna. So, how are we going to match that contradiction? Because many times we are engaged, we have to do those services, and then maybe I'm not able to, at the same time, not able to find the time to do chanting extra rounds. If I have that time, I would have chanted, but there's another devotee who would be able to chant extra rounds. So will that person be considered more by Krishna, or the one who is engaged in other services, or we should stop those other services and probably focus more on the chanting extra rounds there, or any other thing which is more direct?
So, we'll discuss a little bit about this tomorrow in a Nectar of Devotion discussion. But, what is seva? What is seva?
Doing the thing that will please Krishna.
Doing, it is an expression of my love to Krishna. So now, am I doing my seva mechanically? Am I doing my seva for some ulterior purpose? or am I doing my seva as an expression of love to Krishna? If I'm doing my seva as an expression of love of Krishna, I'll be thinking about Krishna in that seva. I am picking weeds in the garden as an expression of my love to beautify Krishna's home. I am painting a room as an expression of my love to beautify his home. I am cooking for him, not as an expression of meditating on filling my belly afterwards, but as an expression of my love to please Krishna. So, in service, in practical service, we need to bring out this mood that I'm doing this for the pleasure of Krishna. So anytime we experience some up and down in service, it means we have not had the mood to please Krishna. There's something else. Because I have a down, because I have something else I want out of that service. Someone else's recognition. Someone else to get out of my way. Or me to have some this. But if my mood in that service is only to please Krishna, how I can have any down or up? It's all bliss. So a way to diagnose the quality of our mood is how satisfied am I in the rendering of this service, and how much did I think about Krishna in the rendering of that service? Was my intent of doing that to please him? Right? So we can try to increase that consciousness. In the beginning, it's difficult. Just like when we chant our rounds, it's difficult to meditate fully on Krishna. But what do? We keep chanting and try to get better at it, right? So the service we do is also an offering to Krishna. The chanting we do, we may chant extra rounds, but if I'm chanting extra rounds and I'm meditating about my car in the driveway and the office work I have to do and the person I have to call and the Facebook message I saw yesterday, then also what is there? Right? So it's not about external what I am doing, it is about internal consciousness. So that is how we should. And to answer more specifically a question, what to do in that, that's, you need guidance. Right? Like, shall I do this? It's coming in that. That's where the more, that's why Prabhupada said, you need bona fide teacher who can guide how to fine-tune the application. But the broad principles are that everything should be an offering to Krishna. So, okay? Any comments, questions? Okay. Is there anything on there? Okay. So now we'll make another offering to Krishna and chant Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.